and Joe sit down to chat. New ideas spark, they can't be that. Podcast fun, fury so grand. Laughter flows, no need for a band. From life stories to wild speculations, each episode brings joy, makes you relaxations. Glaziar gamble, we're off to explore. Laugh and learn, our show is forever. Incredible theories, side by side. Joyful moments we'll never hide.
Welcome everybody, this is the Glaziar Gamble podcast, and this week we are talking about Thunderbolts, or not asterisk, because
Thunderbolts asterisk.
Thunderbolts asterisk. Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We had a week off between episodes, but this week it's back to some Marvel content. Next, I believe, movie that we'll be seeing when we do our next review episode would be Superman.
Yeah.
But yeah, this time it's a group of superheroes that we'll be talking about, or not superheroes, heroes, anti-villains, a weird checkered past
hero
people.
Villains. I know it's been, like I said, I know you said it's been a while since we've done a filming. Like, and I know that's like there's probably been a void of content for a little bit.
Okay. It's been a void. Yeah, it was good. I really liked the movie.
It's not
though.
like we're like ghosting you guys. It's
Stop. I don't know. We just to make sure it was a good episode. We were like a master. We put our task mastering skills on, and just set up what we needed to get done.
Right.
Can't think of another one, but that's okay. God, we're dumb. Just sitting here like we're on sentry duty.
Right. We're just like trying to figure out what to do next, and it's like bobbing for apples. It's just like.
So stupid.
Good pull.
Oh man. All right. Yeah. Anyway, so obviously we are going to take this review seriously. We're here to provide insight and just knowledge on the industry itself.
Cinema.
But yeah, it's getting a lot of different buzz. I feel like the word of mouth that we're getting about the movie doesn't match how much it's earning. I'm getting nothing but positive.
Presumably earning. I see however many different things. Like, this is the lowest drop off, and then it's like, this is the biggest drop or the biggest gain. Like, I've heard so many different things. I don't know if I can necessarily trust any number that's coming across my screen.
Sure.
But you know, you can trust what you see about in regards to like what people think about it. But I personally, this is like one of those movies where like I can't trust what numbers I'm seeing. I don't think, because it's just, I've seen the worst Marvel movie opening, and then I've seen like the greatest increase from day to day. Like I don't know what to believe on that.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm also not educated enough on the topic to probably talk about it. So I'm not sure if the like Hollywood China tariffs have happened yet, or like how that's affecting.
Sure.
So
right.
I'm also not sure if that like even includes international numbers. So yeah, I've just seen that it hasn't really been like, I thought I saw 72 million is what I last saw.
And then I saw like 108 or like 162 on just the first Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Maybe somewhere between like 60 and 150 million, like somewhere in there.
I have no idea, but then it's like the percentage is like it's a 50% drop off, and then it was like, but it was the biggest gain from Monday to Tuesday.
And 50 isn't even that bad in movie nowadays, especially Marvel movies.
Right.
But I don't know. Everybody I've seen that talks about the movie loves it. People are talking about
Marvel's back.
Yeah, and people are saying that like this is kind of the first, just all like positive about things that aren't true, in my opinion. Like, this is the best group movie Marvel's done since the Avengers. Like, no, there's been multiple good group things actually, and people just were jumping on the negative train. Marvel hasn't put out a whole bunch of bad things. Like, we tend to like most of the things that they put out, and like we can agree stuff like Madam Web, which is still Sony anyway, or Sony like Thor, right? Love and Thunder. we
It
understand
has
that
its
they weren't
flaws,
like
but
great movies, but there has been great since Endgame. I just think people
yeah.
would prefer to be negative over positive because
we
that's what
we
they
talk about
thrive
this a
on.
lot. There's a couple people at my work that like they're very much like what they see on the media, or like what I see on the media, and then like what I disagree with. Like they'll come up to me at work and they'll be like, "Oh, you see the new movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Or you see the show? And I'm like, "Yeah." And like, "Oh yeah, I thought this." And I was like, "That's the exact same thing I saw someone say on the internet." Like,
Yeah. Yep.
make your own opinion of it. And I was like, I usually tell them, like, if those people don't like Marvel, then Marvel's not made for them. I was like, but I like Marvel, so Marvel is made for me. So,
My favorite is the people that have an opinion that haven't seen it.
right,
That's the one that really matters. Because, like you were saying, everybody needs their original opinion. The way to get your original opinion on a movie is to go see it. So
right,
if you haven't seen it, then you are genuinely just parroting people that have seen it. But if somebody who has seen a movie or a show dislikes it, I love hearing the specific, oh, the tone of this line delivery, or this plot point has like a huge hole that they can't overcome. Like that's just, that ruins
sure,
it for them. That, then it's like, totally, I understand. Movie wasn't for you, but I think in general, for people that are into both like action superhero, but also the more what Marvel's been doing the past few products, like Daredevil, where it's kind of feeling like the dramas first and like the character driven story is a little bit more of a focus, like it was back in earlier Marvel. Um, I think a lot of people who are into that are going to be fans of this because it's giving us a lot of us fans a lot of what we've been looking for, with that character driven story, with keeping humor without having to make it campy.
sure,
I feel like a lot of this movie, the parts where you were laughing, you weren't laughing out of like awkwardness, like almost like a sitcom laugh,
right,
which is kind of how some of the Marvel humor, like Thor, Love and Thunder, that humor
right, yeah,
feels
yeah,
very sitcom-y.
yeah. Or that same humor. The problem with Thor: Love and Thunder was that they tried to do, like, I don't believe it was Taika. I don't think it was Taika, was it? It could have been
For Love
Taika,
and
but
Thunder,
Love and
it
Thunder, yeah.
was, yeah.
Okay, so like Taika came back and he tried to do that same thing, that the exact same thing that made Thor Ragnarok good. And Thor Ragnarok gave you gave you really good side characters, as well as like another like very familiar faces, and then it added in that humor, as well as like having a good story. But you almost over for like Love and Thunder, you had the same components, but you didn't give everything their equal part. And I think you
Sure.
focused too much on like the humor and like doing things for the sake of doing things rather than making it make sense.
I was thinking about that. I was actually thinking about that the other day, and um, I kind of make it similar to musicians where they go wrong, where they like have an album and a couple songs are like different, but they're really good. Maybe they have a little bit more of a ballad style. Maybe they like really stretch out their like certain notes. And so in the next album, like that's the only thing they release is songs that are what the couple
Sure,
fan favorites were. They like gave it a whole album of, because if this is what people must like, I'm gonna stick with it. And then they
sure,
kind of like lose their sound and like what made it unique. And I
right.
felt very similar about Love and Thunder and Ragnarok, where they had the same exact, like you said, they had the same exact goal in mind. Taika did, but he saw what people liked in Ragnarok and were like, I'm gonna give you more of that.
Yeah, and I also think that like you took there was a lot of missing elements that like could have made this story better. Like you had all these other gods, and like you even have like the post credit scene of Hercules. Like you could have implemented that into the story, and then like
Yeah,
there was also like Gore the God Butcher. Like whereas Christian Bale did very well in that role, like you can't be Gore the God Butcher without all black, and so like you essentially just made your own non symbiote symbiote version of it, like I don't, it just didn't make sense. And like I feel like you should have reached out to Sony to make the better movie. I get, like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That's what I think. Like you should have been able to use all black, and then maybe even be like, hey, like this came into a time where like eventually you moved Venom over for a split second, and then you went back and did Venom 3 and you brought in Null, but like you could have just done all of that in the Marvel universe if you wanted to. Like like I don't know. That's one of the things. And we're here to talk about
Yeah,
Thunderbolts.
Thor:
but
Love
I mean,
and
like,
Thunderbolts. We got there. We transitioned.
yeah, nice.
But some of the so anyway, most of the people that are talking about the movie seem to be loving it. And actually, I am gonna go see it again. My wife really wants to see it because of the way I've been talking about it.
Sure.
So I will be seeing it again, hopefully in the next like weekend or so. But I thought that like we said, the humor aspect of it was good, but the main thing I really enjoyed about this movie this time around was, yes, we got to know the characters a little bit more, but we kind of already knew what we needed to know about them. It was about like what bonded them together. I see a lot of people making comments about how like this is an actual family, and like Fantastic Four is going to feel like a family. And so we're going to have like a bunch of these families, and then Fast and the Furious is going to make its way through because it's all the families.
That's funny. Oh yeah, I think so the humor in Thunderbolts, I'm gonna go right back to Thor Ragnarok here. The humor in Thunderbolts was very similar to Thor Ragnarok because none of the like Thor knew Thor didn't know Valkyrie. Thor only knew
Right.
Loki. And so Valkyrie didn't know Hulk and Bruce Banner. And so like there was aspects of people that knew each other, but like the fact that they also didn't know each other, that's where the humor came from. Like Valkyrie and Thor were funny, Valkyrie and Hulk were funny. And then like you got bits and pieces of the humor that's worked in the past where like Loki's afraid of Hulk, Thor and Loki, like they're siblings obviously. So like you get some humor from people that know each other and some humor from people that don't know each other. And then in this one, you get that same little bit. Like everyone knows Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Red Guardian and Yelena know each other. And then you have like they all know Val.
Mm-hmm.
They all know Val. And then it's just like you've got all those humorous moments where they don't know each other.
Yeah.
Or where they do know each other. And then you have all the moments where like Ghost doesn't know who the hell John Walker is. John Walker doesn't know who Taskmaster is. John Walker doesn't know who Yelena is. Like who's Red Guardian? Like you also have humor Bob in that whole mix too. So like that's where I think those movies are similar.
I have a few questions for you as well.
Sure.
So you just mentioned Bob. One of the things that we've talked about a few times. I'm a big fan of Steven Yeun. Like very, very big fan. Sure. Originally, he was going to be Sentry, and I couldn't help during the movie, even though Lewis killed it. He absolutely killed it. Like I now don't want anybody else to even be considered for Sentry. Yeah. Like I think he nailed it.
As soon as he got the suit and the gold hair and he came down the steps, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. However, like I still could see Steven Yeun doing it, and with the way
sure.
the direction, if this was the same direction that Steven was supposed to go with Sentry and Bob, if that was the same type of character Steven was going to be, I think he also would have absolutely killed it. So I think this is one of those scenarios where you can say an actor portrays a character well. But part of what makes this character so great is the writing around Bob, the Void, and Sentry.
Yeah, they're three different entities. They're three different beings, really.
Right, and the character development for that we got to learn with him, with his family past. We got to learn throughout the movie little tidbits here and there, but they didn't really have to give you a ton of information, but the information that they did give you a lot of insight, like how he ended up in the experiment to become Sentry, what was he in Malaysia,
Yeah, he's just trying to find some drugs.
Right. So we like got to hear a little bit about his past before we even got to the Void to learn about more information with his stepdad or father. I think it was stepdad though.
Sure.
And like before we found all the information, the little bits that we got really built up his character. So I feel like the development of this character was just laid out really, really easily.
Right.
And the
Yeah, and
fact you just needed a good actor to do it, and they did that.
right. You can take bits and pieces of all the struggles the other members had,
Mm-hmm.
because that also, like, what they were struggling with, Bob also was struggling with. So it's like you can almost rope all of their darkness together, kind of all of their hurt
Hopefully I
together.
haven't been blurry for long. Keep going, sorry.
Can't tell. I'm just saying that you can kind of rope all of their struggles together, and you could really do that with Yelena, who was trying to be using her own personal experiences to help Bob through his.
Right.
So you didn't even need like all of Bob's hurt, because you kind of got it. You understood what the other ones were going through if you've been keeping up. So
sticking with Bob, I'll give you what I told my wife for the exact like how I defined Sentry for the movie. And then I want to hear your opinion on what you think.
Okay.
So Sentry, we've talked about who he is in the comics.
Right.
He's insane. He after World War Hulk defeats like all the Avengers and all these different powerful groups. Sentry stops Hulk 1v1.
Rips Ares in half.
Right. Like he's the true, like, if you think who's the most powerful person in the Marvel universe, I know people dig into the weeds on that and they're like, oh, it's Professor X. It's like all whatever. You can argue Sentry should be considered for that spot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think you can.
Right.
Especially if you like you don't know it'd be really a crazy interaction between the Void and Wanda. Like you have to think like Wanda, obviously. Like, and so like
I would think Void wins that.
Yeah, right. But it's because it's like essentially like who thinks a thought first, and if Wanda doesn't know who the hell that is, like.
And I'm not sure Void's affected by Wanda's thoughts.
Right. You can't know that either. And so like, and Sentry's like fast.
Yeah. Like
fast.
Superman, Flash Gordon fast.
You're right. And so like he could, and like the thing with Wanda is like everyone's like, oh, I see this on Twitter all the time where it's like who wins in a fight, and it's Superman versus Wanda, and it's the answer Superman. And everyone's like, well, Wanda would just blink and
she's dead before the blink finishes.
Yeah. Yep. As soon as you say start, like the vibration of your voice, Superman will hear, and he will speed blitz her before she can even.
And I'm also
before you finish the word.
I'm in the Stan Lee camp, which is if it hasn't been written, there's no point in arguing it, because a writer will. Whoever wins the fight is the writer, was what Stan Lee said. Like he will, whatever they write. That's why Squirrel Girl can beat all these different people.
Squirrel Girl, right?
Because Squirrel Girl is like they just wrote her that way. There's no reason why, if we were to take her and Superman, there's no reason why she would be able to beat Superman, but they could make it so she did.
Yeah.
But Sentry anyway is extremely powerful, and I told my wife the way that they changed his story, and like made him this, because obviously they kind of would have had to work with Sony.
The main version of him is like the Dark Reign storyline where Norman Osborn builds the Dark Avengers. That's like essentially like.
So they couldn't have done that because they would have had to work with Sony, and that just wouldn't work. But they changed that. I think they nailed it. But his power level was something I was really worried about, especially in a movie filled with like no superheroes.
Yeah. Right.
His power level was like, how do we nerf that to make it like, what is even the threat of, Kang or Doctor Doom if this exists?
Sure.
And they nerfed it by basically creating the constant presence of the Void as well as mental instability in Bob.
Right.
Where Bob could kill an ally or everyone and everything.
Right.
So the way to nerf it is basically like you will never, similar to the way they did with Captain Marvel. Pull in case of emergency is basically the only way you'll ever see.
Yep. I think that's what they're gonna do. And
And I
I
thought
have
that
no
was
problem with that
perfect.
because like I have no problem with that because like you get to an Avengers type movie and like Thor gets Stormbreaker, like
Store gets
Thor gets
Thornbreaker.
Stormbreaker, yeah. Thor gets Stormbreaker and you're like it's over. Like it's over. The only thing that can stop Thanos is him not thinking right in that moment. Like he wanted to prove a point and say something to him and like make him feel all the hurt that they went through. And Thanos is like, you should have gone for the head. Like,
Yeah.
and then the snap, right? And so like, but as of right now, like that threat, like there's a few of our people that could probably take like Captain Marvel could beat Thanos with no gauntlet.
Yeah.
Probably.
100%. Yeah. Even
Scarlet
if he had
Witch,
like one
100.
stone.
Yeah, because he needed the Power Stone to
Yep.
beat her. Wanda could. Wanda could for sure. And then our Thor is probably our strongest person. Like Thor right now is insane. So
Yeah.
our Thor right now is insane.
He
So
is. Yep.
yeah, I mean nerfing them until the last moment, I'm fine with that. And like that's kind of how you have to do that with these super strong characters,
Mm-hmm.
or else it's just going to be like, well, why don't they just do this? Like,
Or
why
they
don't
have to
just
completely change the way the characters' powers are or work to the point where they're not really as comic accurate, where they kind of have to fit the story more than they fit the comic
And
version.
so I can easily see all of these groups being put together, and like they're doing their best, but Bob's afraid to go Sentry because he's afraid of the Void coming out. But then like he's probably gonna see some of his friends get hurt or some of his friends die and be like, I have to overcome this in this moment. And then you're gonna get Sentry being able to be Sentry for a little bit. That's how I see it. Like it's gonna come down to that.
Yeah, we'll probably
And
have
I'm
to
fine
get
with
the
that.
helmeted version of Sentry at some point where he's protected from.
True. But
Cause
like, yeah, I mean, like that's, and I'm fine with that because like other people, you have to tell the story through other people. You can't just be like, why don't they just go back in time and get Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch in the same place as Thanos? Like we thought that. I mean, we've said that on an episode. It's like, well, just go get your two strongest people or three strongest people and have them just show up to where Thanos is
right.
at that time. Like talk to present Gamora and be like, hey, Gamora, where was he at this point? And be like, oh, he was on his ship. He was on the Dark Aster. Like, go there. And then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, let's get Captain Marvel and Thor with Stormbreaker and Captain Marvel, and he can just Bifrost them all there with Stormbreaker. And then they just kill him, and then it's over with.
Yeah. It's like adding a
So
cell phone to horror movies.
yeah. So
Yeah. Stormbreaker is very much game breaking in that way. Which again,
So-
they have their ways of nerfing things. And the way eventually that I did describe it to my wife was that same way. Like I thought they did that nerfing for people that know Sentry. I think they were able to do the character justice while making it still work in the movie, and I thought, and like in the universe itself. So I thought they nailed it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people like some of the discourse has been like they changed his background. I thought they nailed it. They had to do their own constraints. They can't just like throw money at Sony and hope everything works. That's just not how the world works.
Sure.
So I thought what they did with Sentry was like the exact way that I can't see any other way of them doing it now, because I
Sure.
thought they nailed it.
Yeah, I think and like I said, with those stronger characters, you can't just unleash them at all moments every time, because then it's just like game over for everyone.
Sure.
So
yeah. And then some other characters that were obviously it was very focused on all of them. I think the one least focused was Ghost and Red Guardian. They just kind of
Sure.
were side pieces there, but
yeah,
Bucky sounds like he's no
Buck-
longer a congressman.
yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think
I don't know
it'd
if
be hard for him to do that while he's doing New Avengers stuff, but
right. I don't know if Contessa
Yeah.
I don't know, like, cause she said 2-month run or whatever. That might be a record. I think that was
Yeah.
was that the way of telling the audience like he's no longer a congressman? Because it
No,
feels
I
that
just
way.
I think she was just making fun of him. I don't think he's a congressman anymore. Like I don't think that's what he's pursuing, but I think that was just basically saying like you just broke into my like you just committed a felony by breaking into my base or breaking like well killing those people.
Right.
Like possibly killing some of her men and you know like stealing that information or whatever. Um so yeah, she's probably just mocking him in the moment. Like you're doing this other stuff. Like you're doing this other stuff, but you're supposed to be a congressman. Like they're not gonna like that. Or she like maybe
Sure.
blackmailing him even. Like not blackmailing him, but being like, I have this information over you now. So
And of course, the Avengers Tower that's under construction gets destroyed at the top and the bottom.
yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's
Like they
some
drive
damage
through
to
the
it. It's
front
still
doors,
standing, obviously,
people
because
get through
like
the
yeah,
walls.
yeah,
Oh man, just
the
gonna
watchtower
forever
now.
be under
Yeah,
construction. But
yeah.
um,
Seemed like they had it pretty built up after 14 months, but
I think a lot
they
of
had it all.
people they also really liked. I've seen a lot of people talk about how Yelena is so much better than Black Widow, or
Natasha. Yeah.
Natasha. And it's like when Black Widow was first introduced in the Avengers movies, whether people want to admit it or not, female superheroes were not what they are now, and women were not viewed like women superheroes were not viewed
Sure.
that way.
Yeah, I mean, you had to bring her in and just be sex appeal
If she got
until
to
she
be
got her part.
introduced now, her character would have like if Black Widow solo movie would have been her introduction, and they would have been able to write the story differently. Obviously, people would feel the same way about her.
Yeah,
Um,
they're
it
different characters
they're
also. Like
completely
you
different
yeah,
characters.
like Natasha is a hero, and where like Yelena has her heroic moments, like she was always supposed to be that person that
She's been mercenary
her
more than
her
hero,
sister yeah her sister left her to go do bigger and better things, and now she's conflicted on like what she's supposed to do,
right?
and so yeah,
But still wants to do the right thing, which is what
yeah,
gets her to where we are now.
right.
Um, and then the other like redemption story, it felt like the main two were John Walker
John Walker, U.S. agent, yeah,
and Florence Pugh.
yeah,
I was um I was really impressed by how they portrayed John because like I hated him after the show.
dude, he was probably my favorite character to be honest. Like that was badass. That was
I would still say that Yelena and Bucky
sure.
are up there just because like
Yeah,
they've
I've got
built
more
it up
history with them
right.
too. Yeah,
Um,
right.
but yeah, I think they did like a good redemption for him because they create sympathy. He was the same asshole they portrayed. He was that way with his wife, and then she ended up leaving him.
Right.
Um,
But you didn't know, like even like Yelena looked at him like, dude, like that sucks. I'm sorry, and he's like, it
without a
basically
single
like,
word, they didn't even say
yeah,
anything. You just knew that
yeah,
it was
and
understanding and respect.
yeah. So she's like, I didn't know that, man. Like,
But through the whole movie, he is a huge part of the humor, which why Russell is also very funny in like interviews and stuff. So
oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna guess that set was pretty fun. Some of the
yeah,
behind the scenes photos and clips are like a group of friends hanging out
yeah,
energy the whole time. That picture that has been going around with Florence Pugh in like the like crab pose. Have you
yeah,
seen that?
yeah. I have. Yeah,
Oh my god, that those it just looks seems like it would be so much fun, and the way like his character brought a lot of fun to the screen, even when it felt like inappropriate to
after
laugh.
yeah after Bob said Bob so much, John
Bobby,
Walker calls him Bob more than he does after that point. Like he sounds like Bob, Bobby, come on,
Bobby,
Bobby. Like, yeah,
uh, which their interactions are good too as well. But like the whole them starting out as 100% individuals to like cohesive team out of necessity for the most part, but like also because they all wanted to. Part of their similarity was that they all eventually wanted to be heroes. Like if they all got called to the Avengers, every single one of them would have said yes before this moment.
Sure.
So part of what brought them together was they all wanted that. So that I think they started working together because they all craved it, and it worked really, really well from like a story standpoint as well as how to defeat the villain standpoint. I saw
Sure.
some people so mad that it was the power of friendship, but
Yeah.
people have pointed this out. The Guardians of the Galaxy was the same way.
Sure.
They won holding hands,
Right.
and people loved that.
Right.
So stop picking on things. Just because one person doesn't like it doesn't mean you have to say like, oh, that does make it bad. No, it was a huge plot point. So the fact that that's basically how they saved each other, saving each other is why they're there, and it also leads them to the counterpoint with Contessa, where
Right.
them working together makes her manipulate the situation to present them as, spoiler alert to everybody who exists, who's already has the new Avengers.
Yeah.
This isn't the Thunderbolts anymore, it's the new Avengers. And
Yeah. Everyone said that like the title change. It's just this is the first time the title's been changed. And I was like, no, because like Falcon and the Winter Soldier got changed to Captain America and the
it
Winter
did.
Soldier. And then the title of the project is not Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like it's still Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So this movie is still called Thunderbolts asterisk. Like
It is.
that's the movie. So,
Right. It was just part of marketing.
Right.
And some people are blaming that as why there was a drop off for the second weekend. It's like, no, that's not why. All movies drop off, especially in the summer. But overall, the lead into the new Avengers and the fact that they saw the Fantastic Four ship coming in.
Right.
We know that the group of Avengers with the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, and they're trying to
Has one
copyright
member.
the Avengers.
Has one member right now, which is funny on Twitter.
People seem to think it's fully. It is.
Yeah, they have a copyright symbol next to the Avengers right now on Twitter, which is funny. They're like, "Damn, Sam moves fast." So
I saw some people saying that they're like he already has his full team with Ant-Man, Falcon. Is like
screen.
none of these are official. The only one is
Falcon. Yep, Joaquin Torres.
So it could mean anything from he already has a full set of Avengers. It could mean that it's just purely because Sam would 100% be against Contessa.
Sure.
I think it's nothing more than that. And speculation is obviously going to be huge for this next couple movies, so they're going to do everything they can to spice up any speculations they can create.
Sure.
I also it's more fun over something I care about a ton. Like it's not like they're gonna go to war with each other over the name Avengers.
No, there's gonna be probably a moment in Doomsday or the next time they meet up where like they're in the same place at the same time and like Bucky saves Sam or Sam saves Bucky and one of them just turns and goes, "You asshole!" Like that's probably what it's gonna be.
Right, and then they kiss.
Right. What?
What did you say?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you got all these formations of these groups that are going to be happening in the lead up. Like you've got Fantastic Four, obviously. We have Ironheart in 48 days with no trailer, which is pretty
crazy.
Which is pretty crazy. But that might lead into Young Avengers or Champions. I think is what a name we
did get a teaser trailer for Ironheart though. It was just super short.
Right. And so like the Champions, I think is what they're gonna call themselves or something. But yeah, you've got Ironheart coming out soon, you got Fantastic Four, we've got Wonder Man end of this year. So like
the Young Avengers kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, Young Avengers I think are gonna be called like the Champions or something like that.
My favorite of the like why didn't this happen in the movie thing about Thunderbolts was Yelena kept saying how lonely she was, and people are like, what happened to Kate? Weren't you and Kate like communicating, and you viewed her as like
Sure.
your little sister now?
Yeah.
Why? Where's Kate? Did you forget
Yeah.
that she exists?
Right.
Or is Kate doing her own thing and it's just another person that left her?
Yeah. And who knows? Because I mean, Kamala came and got her. So
Right,
who knows?
exactly. Which I saw
Uh,
Iman Vellani did her review of the movie.
yeah. I saw that too. Yeah. Another question would be like, what did Daredevil see? Like, if Daredevil was in New York or like in Hell's
He
Kitchen or
he
like
didn't
whatever,
see.
like,
I can spoil that for you. He didn't see.
yeah. So like, but if he was in the void, like, what what happens to him? Like I don't know.
It's just
Does he just sense everything?
he's
Yeah.
every room he's in constantly
It's
rearranges.
just Elektra dying over and over and over and over again.
You went into something more serious. I tried to make it a joke about him being blind.
Right. No, I know what you
My
mean.
bad.
And then like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's the one I want to
instantly
know, yeah.
Spider-Man, like his spider sense would be like, something's not right here, and then he'd go flying into New York, round a corner, go into the void, and see Aunt May die 58 times.
That was another one I saw. People were like, what does Spider-Man even do? And I was like, ask Sony. Marvel probably would love to have Spider-Man in this movie. Marvel
Yeah.
would probably put Spider-Man in every single movie if they could.
Yeah.
They don't have access to it because of Sony, so he does not fit in New York right now. We know he's there, but we're just going to pretend he's doing fuck all.
Yeah. And then like how does the mayor of New York, like, they have a base of like a freaking giant tower of vigilantes, like,
Right, is Kingpin going to hate her, or is she ever going to become Madam Hydra?
who knows?
Is she going
It's
to
ridiculous.
take over John and turn him into Captain Hydra, and then she's going to be Madam Hydra?
I think in Doomsday, Doctor Doom is going to put together the main Avengers, but they're all going to be the evil versions. And so he's going to try to conquer all the worlds with these evil Avengers. So you're going to have like Doctor Doom, Tony Stark, and you're going to have Captain Hydra, Steve Rogers, and you're going to have like Maestro, Hulk, and then you're going to have like Ronin, Hawkeye. Like, you're going to have all the
Could they
these,
do
like, evil versions?
Could they bring in the leader, but it's the original plan they had for how he was going to look?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be dope. Like, those leaders
that
are
looked
in
great.
the raft those leaders are in the raft at the same time, but like one of them from the evil Doctor Doom world has the big head, and then ours has the not good looking head.
Yeah, the rotted brain looking
Yeah.
stupidity. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I could see that happening. That could be good. I mean, Sentry still wins, so you just would have to have a version. So it's another one of, I can't wait to see how they what constitutes pulling the Sentry rope.
Sure.
Like what's the oh shit moment? Does it have to be Galactus swallowing them?
Yeah. Is it Yelena? Like, is it Yelena? He's just watching it like on camera, and he sees Yelena need help, and he's like, I gotta fucking put it together, man. Like,
we're all also getting to the point where it's kind of becoming clear that Fantastic Four is going to end in a loss, right?
Right.
Like where it's pretty clear that Galactus is about to win. We're gonna see Galactus win.
Right. Galactus would probably win. But also, like, there's questions with Fantastic Four, like, does Victor Von Doom exist in that world?
Right. We haven't
Or
seen
did
anything
he?
around Doom.
Yeah. Is there a Victor Von Doom that exists in that world? And is, like, no one has said that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Victor Von Doom. They just said he's playing Doctor Doom.
He's just playing Doctor Doom. He's not.
Yeah,
he might not be Victor.
Yeah, and like, you can't tell me that he's Victor Von Doom. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I don't know. Everyone's like, well, the guy who played Quicksilver played Craven, and I was like, yeah, but we don't know what world Craven is in.
Or Quicksilver. Just
Yeah, I hope we don't know World Quicksilver's in because like those other those other
There's also
X-Men are
another
coming as
Quicksilver. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, but
Yeah. I don't know. I can't wait. I think this movie leads perfectly into the next projects. I think everything from writing to I thought the only place where they could have done a little like could have had a little bit more fun was the soundtrack, but even then I don't think that matters cuz the credits is the only time where the soundtrack was even appropriate in this movie because of the tone.
yeah.
So, um really not a ton of
One thing,
complaints, not a ton of complaints about this
one thing
movie.
with the post-credit scene, I just want to say because people were bashing it because people love to bash it. Post-credit scene was directed by the Russo brothers on the set of Doomsday because Doomsday is filming right now, and they're all there, like they're all
Sure.
there for Doomsday, and so it's filmed there, and everyone's like this post credit scene was so much different than like the tone of all of them in the show, which it wasn't like at all. Like everyone had the same demeanor, kind of. John Walker was like didn't understand, and Bob was being his little lonesome self.
He
Red Guardian was
was.
over the top excited. Yelena was like annoyed with the whole like her and Bucky the whole time in that were like annoyed by the same thing. Like it
Yeah.
from a tonal standpoint, it was very similar to the movie. And the person who wrote the movie also wrote that credit scene. So the person who wrote Thunderbolts wrote that credit scene. It's just the Russo brothers directed it because they were on set. So people were mad because like this is the Russo brothers fucking it up again. It wasn't. It was the writer that did the Thunderbolts. So you're
And what was even
just
bad about it?
yeah. It just doesn't. It's they just didn't seem the same, and the Russo brothers messed it up. They just directed what they were told to direct,
Right.
man.
And like
Like
there was nothing about it where I'd go, God, that was terrible. It's a post credit scene. Since when does the post credit scene have to be cinema? Like,
yeah,
no, it's supposed to
I thought it was
tease you. I
perfectly
thought it
fine,
was
man.
good, man.
And okay, just I've one thing we've commended Marvel with is that the costumes are all badass. U.S. Agent's costume in that scene was peak. In the post credit scene, he had the beret and he had the
Yeah.
shield. All the shield was still bent, and he had like the stripes were more clear on his like
Right. The bent
top
shield's gonna
piece.
remind him of what like it reminds them all. This is what Bob can do.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw someone say they have like three super soldiers on that team, and that shield is not made out of vibranium. Couldn't they just bend it back?
Probably.
Probably, but he keeps it like that.
And
He
don't
likes
forget
his
Bob was
taco
holding
shield.
back in that fight. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he wasn't
dude.
trying and that's how hard he beat them.
Yeah, that was we didn't talk about that, but that was the coolest action scene I may have ever seen. Like
It
that
was
was
amazing.
so dope.
So, all of this to say, we usually give a 1 out of 10, 1 through 10
Sure.
rating. Um, Normally I feel like I have you go first, so I can go first this time just so
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I was
fair.
gonna ask if you could go first.
Um, I'm torn because there's like a 1 point range.
I always think about us giving Shang-Chi 8.5.
We did,
And
yeah.
so I compare a lot to Shang-Chi.
Sure.
Um so yeah, I'm curious
So the very first
what you
number, because a lot of time we go with like our first gut reaction.
sure.
My gut reaction number was an 8.
I would also put it at an 8.
Okay.
I think Shang-Chi
Slightly better.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's nothing to that but here's the thing. Like the action in this movie, there's like hand-to-hand combat, right? It's not like mystical really outside of like what Sentry can do. But like Shang-Chi had the outfit, it had the story, it had the score, it had like everything. Like Shang-Chi had everything.
It
So
did. And like
um
also we're not going to go into like we're going to give a quarter point. This is an 8.25.
yeah.
Like other movies that we've scored for reference for those of you still watching, please like and subscribe while you're here. I think the last movie that we gave an 8 to was Wakanda Forever.
Sure.
I think we gave Multiverse of Madness a 7 or 7.5.
Yeah, in that range, yep.
We gave No Way Home a 9 or 9.5.
Yeah. It was like a 9.
So we're saying that this is slightly worse than No Way Home, slightly better than Multiverse of Madness, around the same as Wakanda Forever, maybe slightly better, and like somewhere between there and Shang-Chi. Like
Yeah.
those are all movies that I would watch again. So if
Right.
8 sounds bad to you, like why is it not a 10? You just said nothing but good things, not a lot of complaints. 8 is it's just not a perfect movie, and it shouldn't be easy to get a 10 out of 10, and it's not. We have yet to give one. I would say there has been one 10 out of 10 in all of Marvel's movies ever, which was Infinity War.
Infinity War. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the closest to 10 you're gonna get.
I think that's the closest they've gotten to 10. There's been plenty of movies that I think are close, like the first Black Panther. It's up 9.5. I would say it's getting really close to a perfect movie. There's just been a couple that are up there. And then there can be movies that you personally enjoy that you might give a 9, but it's the general public, maybe myself, won't give it a 6. I think the original Ghost Rider with Nick Cage is an enjoyable movie. Like if it's on TV, I'm not going to change it. I might never seek out watching it, but if it's on, I might not change it. Like it's not one of those yuck, turn it off movies.
Yeah,
most people say.
Definitely be curious to watch all those old movies again, just to see if I catch any of the Marvel references in those movies.
Right.
Like Ghost Rider, Blade, Daredevil, Elektra. Like if they're
Blade's
on,
one I would like to rewatch. Watch the original trilogy again.
Sure.
But yeah, so I think us giving it an 8 compared to if people want to go back and watch the other episodes that we've rated movies or shows, 8 out of 10 is one of our highest rated we've ever given, comparatively to the Natasha-led movie that we rated,
5.5,
Black Widow, which is our second lowest rating we've ever given.
Madam Web.
Madam Web, I will probably hold that title for a long time.
Yeah, we didn't see Craven, so
we did not see Craven because that's like Craven would probably be right there with it. We made the executive decision to not see Craven because we did not want to support Sony anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I think this movie was amazing. Like I'm gonna go see it again in theaters. I never really do that, mainly because the cost of going to theaters. But
that's crazy. Yeah.
A lot of Marvel movies, you can, after seeing them once, you don't necessarily have to rush back to see it again.
Yeah.
You can wait till it gets released. But this is one of those ones I'm eager to see it again. Like I can't wait. The fact that my wife said she wants to go see, I was at work today and I was like kind of giddy about the idea of gonna go see it again.
Yeah.
I'm also, the inner fat boy in me is like, ooh, Skittles and popcorn again. But yeah, I can't wait it's just such a good forget the outside world exists, watch movie and enjoy it. Like it was amazing. Just you felt sunk into the world, and getting that with Marvel, it feels like it's been a while since I've been sank into the world of Marvel. Sunkered.
And that sunkered. He's right behind me.
But yeah, I feel like it's been a long time since I've been sunkered into the world of Marvel, and this did it. Obviously, there's been shows that we've enjoyed like Daredevil and Loki. Loki felt that way, but it was awesome. I hope if you haven't seen it, we tried not to spoil too much in our review, so obviously we might have had one or two there. I think the John Walker's family plus the new title of the movie, I think, are the two things we spoiled. But for the most part, I think we did a good job of not spoiling. So if you haven't seen it, again, if you've gotten to this point, please go see the movie. It's really good, and if it truly has only made $70 million, that's a shame.
I can't believe that.
Show Marvel that this style of movie is what we want, because this is what Iron Man had. We got to learn who a character was, why we should root for them, why we should possibly root against others. We got everything with that, and I hope we get more Marvel movies like this in the future. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you have seen it, please let us know. What did you think of the movie? What did you think of the new Avengers form of advertising that they did? Because that billboard itself has already changed. The big one has already changed to Stitch now. It would be just, yeah. Tell us what you think. What do you think of Bob? Do you like the changes they made to Sentry? Yeah, just give us your opinion. Comments, tweet, do whatever you want. Find your way to talk to us, because I think I even have our email posted on YouTube. So go ahead, reach out to us, talk to us, get involved, and again, like, subscribe, share with your friends, because we have fun doing this. So my allergies are killing me, so I'm ready to head out, and I hope you all are doing great and your allergies are not killing you if you have them. And if you have any headaches out there, go get rid of it. All right, everybody. You all look great today. GG.
GG.